Okay, so in lesson one here of texturing our car, what we need to do is we're going to need to get ready to go ahead and actually UV map a lot of portions of this car. And for some of this, I'm not actually going to be doing the UV mapping inside of Maya simply because of the fact that I'm going to be using Roadkill, because Roadkill is actually a little bit faster and will give me a really good layout in terms of UV space in the 0 to 1 space. And so what we need to do to get ready here is, it's not going to pay for us to go ahead and UV map all three of these different suitcases. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and delete the middle one, and if I can select the whole thing here, go ahead and I'm going to bring the outliner over here so I can go ahead and frame in on it. And it looks like it is, let's go ahead and scale that one down. It's just the middle one here. But we'll just basically go ahead and delete the second and third one here, simply because we don't have to actually UV map all of them individually. We just basically have to do one, and then we'll just go ahead and duplicate it. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate all these parts, all these screws. This will just take a little bit of selection time. We'll just do the easy part here and go ahead and just add this to its own layer and just hide it. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing. I'll just close the outliner there. Just select these, delete that off. Okay, I'm going to reopen the outliner here. Just make sure that everything is in its own group, which is the luggage main. But we really just want the suitcase model. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get a little bit organized here in terms of what we're going to have selected, and I'll just go ahead and add this to that layer 1. Okay, and I'll just go ahead and select everything, regroup it, and then just clear the history, freeze the transformations back on it, and then we'll go ahead and go ahead and rename it here. Just suit case 1. Okay, now I can go ahead and reclose the outliner here, bring that back. Okay, so what we need to go ahead and do here is, like I said, it doesn't make sense to actually UV map all three of them. We're only going to technically need to map one, and then we can just reduplicate it and place it as we need. So the main thing is we're going to do this for all the things that we're going to be UV mapping now. And I'll go ahead and open up my UV texture editor, and under the polygons menu you have an option to delete UVs all the way down here at the bottom. And that's basically what we're going to do, is we're going to delete the UVs off of everything that we're going to be UV mapping and applying a texture to. Because if we take that into Roadkill with UVs, it tends to, let's say, give us a little bit of errors in terms of being able to cut the geometry correctly. Okay, and I've just simply made a shelf shortcut for it, which is right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and select everything that we need to go ahead and delete the UVs on, which is basically the suitcase model, the leather straps, the handle. We're going to go ahead and do the seats here as well. We'll go ahead and do the seatbelt meshes. We really just want to try to cut ourselves some time here in terms of, you know, being able to UV what we need, and it's just going to make it faster for us to go ahead and UV this inside of Roadkill rather than doing it in Maya. Okay, so since we have everything selected that we pretty much will be adding an actual texture to, we'll just come up here and go ahead and delete UVs. Okay, now I'm going to regroup all these because we're going to be exporting these individually. Okay, so we'll go ahead and Make sure we clear the history, center the pivot, and delete the transformations on all of these. Okay, so we'll go ahead and redelete a layer. Add these to a new layer, okay, and call these unmapped pieces. So we know exactly what we've exported out, okay? And since those are deleted, we know exactly what we need to go ahead and do, okay? So now we can go ahead and start exporting these meshes out, and we're just going to export them into our asset folder, okay? And we need to do this as an OBJ. So we'll go ahead and reset my project here to the car, okay? And then we'll just basically start exporting. And these are in the scenes, but I really want to do it in the into the data folder. So we'll go front, seat, back, and we want to export as an OBJ, as I said, okay? Hit G, front, seat, bottom, okay, back, seat, top, back, seat, bottom. Naming convention is going to be, very important here because it's just going to basically help us keep organized. Okay, the seatbelt meshes, I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, so we'll go, 1, 2, 3, and 4 just so that we know exactly what's what here. Okay, so seat 1, and then we'll go seat belt 2, seat belt 3, seat belt 4. Okay, and then we're gonna just basically export the leather meshes here. Okay, suitcase leather 1, suitcase leather 2, and that would be the suitcase body. But as you can see, this is 2 parts. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and separate it, make it 2 individual parts, and that's going to make it easier for us to go ahead and map it. Because if we wanted to, like, let's say, cut it on an edge, it's on the inside here, it's going to sort of be difficult for us to go ahead and select that inside of Roadkill. Okay, so now that it's 2 pieces, we can export that individually and then UV map them individually. So that we'll go ahead and export this as one. So we'll go suitcase body 1 and suitcase body 2. Now that we have and the handle here, so we'll go suitcase handle. Okay, so now that we have everything basically exported out that we really need to put a big texture on, I'm going to go ahead and call it an end to this lesson, and then in the next lesson I'll show you my individual mapping of the pieces that we have exported out, and we'll go ahead and get started.